Hello and welcome back to Benny's Take. I'm your girl Benny, and today I just thought we just sit it down a little bit, have a cup of tea. If you're hearing a raspy in my voice, it's because I'm recovering from a cold. But I just thought like we can just talk, just like a little girl chat, a topic that's been in my mind for like a little bit. So I was like, why not just turn on the camera and record it? And if you're excited for this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you always know when I upload. Because you see this commitment, you see this level of commitment. Me, I have a cold, but I'm still here. You understand? Subscribe, show your girl some love. I'm trying to reach 250 subscribers by the end of the year. If God wanna blow my mind, with more, I'm not gonna complain. But at least a goal that I set out for myself is 250. So what I really appreciate is if you hit, that subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you always know when I upload. And let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for being here. So today we're gonna be talking about just like body image, body positivity, self-love as it relates to just like our bodies and everything in between. I do want to mention that I am not at all licensed for anything. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not any of those things. I just kind of want to talk about the way my body has evolved and how that has essentially just like affected me and shaped the person that I am, the way I view myself and everything in between. So one thing I would say also is that I come from a family where just like everybody's thick. Like thick, 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 thick. Everybody's thick. We've always just like been thick, and it's like the nyash been sitting there. It's just like everybody, just like curvy women, just like curvy bodies, and all of the things from my mother's side, from my dad's side. Like everybody just like looks very just like voluminous, lumptious, curvilicious, like all of the beautiful, all of the good things. However, when I was growing up, I was always like, I don't want to say I was skinny, but I wasn't like, I didn't come to myself yet. So for all through high school, I think I weighed about like 150 pounds. And I'm very short as well. I'm like 5'2" on a good day. So I would just always, I very much like, I maintained that weight for the most part. And I also ran track. I was, working out and all of the things. So like for the longest, I had just maintained that weight count, and just like I looked a very particular way. I looked, rather slim. I wasn't, I wasn't small, but I also wasn't, as thick as I am now. So obviously, like, you kind of get used to your body. Like when I was in high school, that's like 4 years of high school. I just kind of like got used to my body, and like the first year of college, I started kind of noticing a little bit of like a transition with like the way my body was just like shaping up. Like I would notice in high school, even when I gained weight, I would lose it just like the next day. It wasn't no big deal. I don't know if it's just because I was younger, because I hear that when you're younger you easily lose weight. It doesn't even matter. So when college, I started noticing like, wait a minute, like this is not, it's not the same way. And also, freshman 15, that just like happens to everybody. So I definitely put on a little bit of weight and everything in between. I was still active, but I was, even in college, I was still not as curvy as I am right now. I started noticing like a shift in the way that I viewed myself. I started almost like associating like beauty with being a certain size. You know what I'm saying? Like the size that I had in high school, being 154 pounds, was how I felt the most beautiful or the most confident. So even in college, whenever I would gain weight, it was always this rush, this like, let's just work out, let's do this diet, let's do this thing, that way I can go back to that 154 base weight. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do for your life. That if you want to maintain a certain weight for your life, that's fine. I'm not negating that at all. But I just feel like for me, it was almost like stemming from a really negative place. You know what I'm saying? Because I honestly believe that women or human beings, we exist in plethora of different ways. Like we exist differently for a reason. It's like the variety of sizes, height and skin color, complexion, and pigmentation, everything in between. Like we exist differently to serve like a certain purpose. So feeling as though I had to be one way in order to deem myself beautiful, in a sense started crippling me. It really started crippling me, started crippling the way that I view myself, even the way that I would shop. Like I would always try to find things that was, a size medium, even though I was literally a size large. Like I'll still try to fight it because, I just wanted to look the way that I looked in high school. Where it's like, no, a lot of things have changed. The body that I had in high school was the body that I was supposed to have in high school. Now I'm a grown woman, and just like my body is developing, like, I got bigger hips now. Like I have, my boobs are kind of coming along together because in the past, this is what it looked like. Where did you go? You will not see the boobs. You will not see it. And I just be like, me, no boobs. It will really shock me because I'm just like, everybody got it, and it's like, yo, that's not how it works. But my body has definitely, evolved. My body is definitely developing. I have hips now, I have thigh. I have a grown woman body, but I feel like I've been struggling with that. I had been struggling with that. At least I noticed like a shift or like a change with the way I view myself in the last like maybe 2 years. That's when I started being like, okay, let me do the work to actually unlearn this idea that to be beautiful only means to be thin, only means to be like a certain size, that my beauty in particular only depended on me being a certain size. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not at all saying that don't take care of your body. I'm not saying that don't exercise. I'm not saying like don't be mindful of what you're eating. Like all of those things are great. Like you want to take care of your own body because again, this is your temple. But I feel like for me, I had to, unlearn a lot of these things as far as like I'm doing all of these things with the sole purpose of losing the weight and going back to the weight that I had in high school. Where it's like, okay, in high school you were beautiful. Like I've always had a beautiful body, but I had to also recognize that right now, in the present, as I exist right now, that my body is beautiful right now. Not then, not in the future. Right now, in the present, that my body is beautiful. So just like, I'm learning a lot of that. But also on the flip side of that, when I started therapy, I also had to really just like come to terms with a lot of the ways that I was hiding certain emotions, a lot of the tools that I would use to hide certain emotions. And food is definitely one of them. I'm not even gonna lie, till this day, I struggle with that. I would use food as a hiding place. I uncovered that in therapy, but also I was listening to this preaching by Stephen Furtick. I will link it down below if I can find it. And he was definitely talking about how like people, they hide in different places. Some other people hide in blame, where they blame everybody for all the things that's happening in their lives. Other people, they hide in like alcohol. They hide in all these different substances and stuff like that. And when I started realizing and really unpacking mine was, yo, there are times, not always, because again, I enjoy food. I enjoy, eating. I enjoy cooking. So I enjoy, the food that I cook and going out and just like being with friends and family, indulging in like, food and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I started realizing that some of my patterns, I would hide behind food. So when I was feeling like, annoyed or some type of way, I would go get a burger, or I will go get fries. I will go get, sometimes even alcohol. Like I'll go get a drink and everything in between, which again, I'm not saying any of those things are bad, but when you start using them as a way to cope, as a way to hide certain feelings, it can be a little bit unhealthy. So on the flip side, I was like, yo, I'm gaining all this weight and I have to go back to the 154 pounds. But on the other side, it's like I'm stressed because I'm not losing the weight. And when I'm upset, I'm going to go eat some more instead of actually dealing with what are the actual feelings that you're feeling right now. Like you're not hungry. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are the feelings that you're feeling right now and how can you deal with them? So, definitely having to learn that. And I listened to a ton of podcasts. I was listening to this podcast, and this lady was just talking about, she's a stylist, and she was just talking about a personal style, people that dress really well and you think they look chic or they look really put together and beautiful. Part of that is confidence and also dressing for the body that they have currently. Not the body that they wish they had, not the body that they had before, not the body that they're imagining in their head, but definitely the body that they currently have. Recognizing that my size has changed. So that means, some places I'm a large, other places I'm an extra large, depending on like how the clothes run. Just accepting my body for what it is right now and loving it for what it is and where it is right now. I have named my belly Petunia. I think I saw like this celebrity was called talking about her belly, and it's like Petunia is such a fun name. But it's like I have Petunia, but Petunia is here. And the crazy thing is I'm active at the gym, like I've spoken about how, like I train and things like that. Now I'm just trying to unpack, my relationship even with food and my relationship with working out at the gym. Like I've been working out like consistently for at least a year, and when I tell you, like, I've gotten super strong, but sometimes I don't see like the physical changes as far as like Petunia going significantly down. Like she's definitely gone down, but she's not significantly, smaller than when I started. You know what I'm saying? Because I refuse to live a life where I cannot enjoy one of the most pleasurable things in the world, which is food. So at the same time, though, I've been also mindful of when I'm eating. Am I eating because I'm bored? Am I eating because I'm sad? Am I eating because I'm feeling overwhelmed? Why am I eating? And the things that I'm eating, why am I grabbing those certain things? So just like doing that work mentally to just like help me as far as like changing my relationship with food, changing my relationship with working out, like seeing working out as a privilege. There are so many people who cannot move their bodies and I can move mine. You know what I'm saying? So like that's the privilege that I do not want to take for granted. So just like being mindful of things like that, being mindful of how I come across, with the way I talk to myself, with the way I dress myself. Like, am I trying to dress myself in things that are too tight to make me feel like I'm a sausage? Or just like, am I allowing myself the freedom to really explore what it means to style this body in this size? Another thing that I've also been struggling with is this concept of like, treating myself. So when I talk about treating myself, it's always let me grab the Oreos, let me grab, double cheeseburger with bacon and everything in between, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. I want to be very careful that I'm not coming across as I'm judging anybody that's doing that, because that's me too. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but I'm also trying to refrain my mind as far as like treating myself can mean taking care of my body. You know what I'm saying? Treating myself can actually mean a smoothie, because I'm treating my gut health. Treating myself can actually mean, a cup of tea instead of like a glass of wine every night. Treating myself not just like for my life presently, but also in the future. Like, what kind of lifestyle do I want to lead in the future? Do I want to be active? So if I want to be active and be able to move about, freely, so treating myself currently means sometimes going to the gym even if I don't want to. Sometimes treating myself would mean actually just, eating the vegetables, eating, the fruits, even though it may not be something that I'm craving, even though it may not be something that I necessarily want to. But treating myself at least, doesn't always mean grabbing for, the sweetest thing I can find. It doesn't always mean grabbing, the alcohol. It doesn't always mean grabbing like, Oreos or grabbing whatever, which again I still do to this day, don't get me wrong. I will buy a whole pack of Oreos and eat an entire roll, like no problem. But also just like trying to reframe my mind as far as like treating myself can actually mean putting good nutrients, things that actually benefit my body, my body now, my body in the future, and everything in between. So just like, a lot of mindset. Again, I have not arrived. These are things that I still struggle with every other Tuesday. Some days I'm like super confident. I'm like, listen, I'm out here. And then other days I'm like, I'm not really feeling it. Either way, on any of those days, learning to like love myself, learning to show myself grace has definitely been, impactful. So I don't know who this is for, but I hope it encourages you, like, love yourself now the way you exist right now, with everything that you are right now, because from that place of love, that's the only way you can actually achieve change. I encourage you to actually just like go deeper into that self-care, go deeper into loving yourself, whatever that may mean for right now, and from that place work your way towards whatever goals that you do have. So that's just like my little thing. I hope it blessed you. I hope it encourages you. I hope it just like, makes you feel like you're not alone, because honestly a lot of us are going through some of these things, and we are more alike than you realize. is what I'm trying to say. So